Once upon a time, in a friendly little town called Rainbowville, there lived a brave little superhero named Max. But everyone called him Super Max because he always helped people in need, no matter how big or small the problem was. Super Max wasn't like other superheroes with capes and masks. He was just an ordinary boy with a big heart and a very special ability. He could fly. But the most important thing about Super Max wasn't his powers. It was his kindness and his love for helping others. One sunny morning, Max was playing with his friends in the park. They were kicking their favorite red ball around, laughing and running. But suddenly, a strong gust of wind blew the ball up into the air and over a big fence. It landed in Mr. Grumpy's backyard. Now, Mr. Grumpy was a man who didn't like kids playing near his house. He was always frowning and never seemed happy. "Oh no, not Mr. Grumpy's yard," Max's friend Ben said, looking worried. "Maybe we should leave it," said Lily, another friend. "He'll be so mad if we go in there." But Super Max wasn't afraid. He knew that sometimes people like Mr. Grumpy just needed a little kindness. "Don't worry," Max said, smiling. "I'll get the ball back and talk to Mr. Grumpy. Maybe he's not as scary as we think." Max flew over the tall fence and gently landed in Mr. Grumpy's backyard. He looked around and saw the red ball stuck under a bush. Just as he reached for it, he heard a gruff voice. "What are you doing in my yard?" Mr. Grumpy shouted from his window, looking angrier than ever. Max didn't run or hide. Instead, he stood up straight and smiled kindly. "Hello, Mr. Grumpy. My name is Max, and I was just trying to get our ball back. It rolled into your yard by accident." Mr. Grumpy frowned harder. "I don't like kids playing near my house. You make too much noise and you mess things up." Max thought for a moment, then said, "I'm really sorry if we've been too loud. We didn't mean to disturb you, but I was wondering, maybe you could join us? Playing with friends can be a lot of fun." Mr. Grumpy looked surprised. No one had ever invited him to play before. He had always been alone, and maybe that's why he was so grumpy. He looked at Max and saw that he wasn't just a superhero. He was a kind and thoughtful boy who cared about others. I I haven't played with a ball in years," Mr. Grumpy muttered, rubbing his chin. "Well, there's always a first time for everything," Max said, still smiling. "And I bet you're really good at kicking the ball." After a moment, Mr. Grumpy's frown softened. He slowly opened the gate and handed Max the ball. "Okay, I'll try," he said quietly. Max flew back over the fence and told his friends what had happened. When Mr. Grumpy stepped into the park, everyone was a little nervous at first. But soon, they saw that he wasn't grumpy at all. He just needed a chance to feel included. They all started playing together, and Mr. Grumpy even scored the winning goal. Everyone cheered, and for the first time in years, Mr. Grumpy smiled. A big, warm smile. From that day on, Mr. Grumpy wasn't grumpy anymore. He became a regular visitor to the park, and the kids even started calling him Mr. Happy. He had learned that being alone and grumpy wasn't fun at all. But when you're kind and you join others, life becomes much brighter. As for Super Max, he knew he had used his greatest power of all that day, not his ability to fly, but his ability to be kind and help others feel included.